Housing Development Program in Africa. Housing Development Program and the globe. Number one, Housing Development Program.
Good morning and welcome to a brand new edition of Housing Development Money Show, your daily companion for everything housing, construction and national development. As always, I am your housing diva, Flora Arnie, and it's great to have you with me today. This morning, we are focusing on a major national priority, mass housing project for everyday Nigerians. We'll look at the latest news making headlines, hear the views of everyday Nigerians still, get expert analysis, and later on continue our countdown to Africa Housing Awards 2025. Just 2 days to go. Let's begin with the top housing stories this morning.
Lagos State has proposed a new Tenancy and Recovery of Premises Bill 2025, introducing major reforms aimed at curbing exploitation and easing tensions in the state's crowded rental market. The bill seeks to modernize outdated rental laws as Lagos population and housing demand continue to surge. Under the reforms, estate agents must register with La Serera, issue receipts, remit landlord funds within 7 working days, and comply with a 5% cap on agency fees. Violators face fines of up to 1 million naira or 2 years imprisonment. The bill also limits advance rent. New tenants cannot be asked to pay more than 1 year upfront, and existing monthly tenants cannot be compelled to pay beyond 3 months. Breaching this rule attracts a 1 million naira fine or 3 months imprisonment. Tenants would be allowed to challenge excessive rent increases in court, with landlords barred from evicting them during such disputes. The bill also outlines clearer and faster eviction procedures. If passed, the legislation could help streamline Lagos' rental market and offer stronger protection for millions of tenants, though analysts warn that effective enforcement will be crucial. Nigeria's reliance on imported building materials is putting the nation's housing market at risk, according to the State of Lagos Housing Market Report, Volume 3. With 70% of construction inputs sourced from abroad, the sector remains vulnerable to global supply shocks and currency fluctuations, despite Nigeria's rich but underutilized raw materials. The report urges stronger local production, better supply chains, consistent policy reforms, sustainable building practices, and increased investment to stabilize rising costs and address the country's housing deficit. Lagos mirrors the national challenges as rapid urbanization, inflation, high financing costs, and bureaucratic delays push property prices upward. Though the construction sector is projected to grow to 25.72 trillion naira by 2025 and 35.38 trillion naira by 2029, soaring material prices such as iron rods, nearly doubling between 2023 and 2025, continue to undermine housing affordability. To read the full details of the news, visit www.africahousingnews.com.
Across Nigerian states, new sites for mass housing are being proposed, and conversations around accessibility and pricing remain at the forefront. What do ordinary Nigerians think about mass housing? Our team went out to capture the views and expectations of citizens across different communities.
get a place where they can build houses for people, or get place where they can sell cheaper land, then make make designs for little houses like a 1-bedroom flat and all these things. If you want to build a house for the masses and you're building 3-bedroom flats, 4-bedroom, who do you think somebody living in Maraba or Nyanya will go and stay in that car? How will you even pay for it? You know, so that is what I see.
Housing in some area, housing is not that affordable. Like in this estate, not just a just man cannot just come here and say he wants to get a house. So I think in the level of maybe providing houses, they should bring the price down so that it can be easy for both the poor and the middle class people to be able to have access to a befitting houses. That is my own opinion.
What they can do is to is to budget for it and follow up to ensure that they make that provision realistic. It's not what we read on newspaper and social media or something. We have to ensure that it is done, and the citizen also will have to appreciate that indeed government is doing something. And even when they provide, even the little they provide, it's not affordable. It's not affordable to the common man. It's out of the reach of the common man. So the government will really need to bridge the gap. The gap is too wide.
The government have not done anything in respect of that. As I'm talking to you, you see a lot of people suffering. Like now you see our politicians, they will build estates and abandon it. They will travel to abroad. You see people sleeping. When you go to the estate, you see that grasses have grown up, cover all the building, houses. Meanwhile, people are suffering in Abuja. Even pay house rent here, you see many people could not even afford to pay. The rate at which people are suffering in Nigeria is so alarming. So if it comes to housing, government does not do, he has not done anything, even 1/4 in respect of that.
I really think that we can do more. I think we can do more. Yeah, because I think we tried accessing mortgage, but the terms and condition, and then the period, the duration it was going to take before we could access some amounts was supposed to be long. So we just did our thing. But it could have been easier, but it wasn't.
Previously, we used to have what we call the low-cost houses and others, but recently there's nothing like that. Recent days, I think it's actually the estate developers that are doing more of that these days by either subsidizing the price of the land for people to buy and start building, or those who are also building and selling, and they are spreading it in mortgage, more like some of them, I think so. That's all I know for now. But for government, I'm not sure.
If they have done enough, the houses in Nigeria wouldn't be expensive. Because it's just like individuals at one, in private at one, having houses in Nigeria. And each year, some landlords, they do increments. And it's not everybody that can afford it. Had it been government has done enough for in case of houses, the individuals having their own houses will be less. I think government houses should be more than individuals so that poor masses can cope.
Those were real, honest voices of Nigerians calling for affordability, transparency, and housing solutions that truly meet the needs of low and middle income families. When I come back, I'll take you straight into the expert perspective on mass housing and what must be done to make this project effective and sustainable. Stay with Housing Development. More insights are coming up.
start by appreciating the organizers of the Africa Housing Awards, and particularly my very good friend, Festus Adebayo, for putting up together this remarkable initiative, recognizing the efforts of players in the sector and also encouraging them to do more is a great way to spur development in the sector and also achieve our collective objectives for the good of Nigerians.
To be recognized for what I would consider work in the course of doing my duties is really a wonderful thing. This is wonderful, and I am really grateful.
Really, really exciting. That's really hard.
Good to have you back on Housing Development Morning Show. Let's get into our expert review for the day.
There has to be a deliberate policy by government to encourage estate developers to provide mass housing that will be affordable to the generality of the public. So, in terms of return on investment, it is basically not the responsibility of the developers to invest so much in affordable housing and get a little out of it. It has to start from what the government policy says. Because if you look at the cost of construction, the cost of building materials, the expertise, and all whatnot, you find out that it is going to be difficult to build a house and sell it below cost price. But when there's a deliberate policy by the government, like provision of infrastructure, provision of land, and making title easier, then the collaboration between the developers and the government to make housing affordable. But what we have seen in this climb is that there is no deliberate policy. The housing policies have not worked over a period of time. If we have such policies, the developers will be, more than eager to do investment in that environment, in that place. But it starts from policy. Affordable housing must start from government policies. If government give a deliberate policy for housing, make provision, and because the essence of government is to create enabling environment for the private sector to thrive. So everything has to start from the government. For people to afford houses, it has to start from government. There are some level of subsidy in every sector of the economy. It depends on where people focus on. A lot of countries make efforts to provide housing for their citizens. And part of the core functions of government is the provision of housing, shelter, So it is also a sign that our government over the years have failed the citizens. The issue is create policies, create enabling environment for private sector to enter into housing and provide houses that will be affordable to the middle class, basically. Because if you take, for instance, look at policies that are created by the armed forces. Before now, you see that the majority of the retired officers and soldiers of the military, they go home and they die off in 2, 3, 4 years. But since, I'm telling you as a practical example, since the creation of the armed forces housing scheme, you will see that people retire and go into those estates and they live longer than they used to live. It's a typical example of what government can do, what just one single policy can do to elongation of people's lives in Nigeria. So everything starts and ends on the table of the government. Like in FCT, for instance, there's a deliberate policy not to approve bungalows anymore. So what it means is that every building goes up.
My name's Robert Hornsby with American Home Builders of West Africa. Keep watching Housing Development Program.
Strong points there, especially on the need for innovative financing, stronger collaboration, and long-term urban planning. And now we turn to one of the leading authorities in housing research and sustainable development, Professor Timothy Nubi of the Center for Housing and Sustainable Development at the University of Lagos. He shares his insights on addressing Nigeria's housing affordability gap.
We really need to go back to the basis of what is affordable housing. It's right time we begin to define it and really understand the concept, the working of affordable housing market. What makes a housing to be affordable? So if we want to drive affordability, we can focus on cost reduction. And cost is actually high for the factors I've given and some other factors. Cost of funding the purchase of the materials and the building process itself is high. Through the real estate value chain, the cost is high. So if we can reduce the cost, we can work on affordability. To a certain level that will bring about affordability, let us focus on how do we reduce cost of construction in this country? How do we make sure that a first-time buyer has access to mortgage? If I'm paying 20 million for 25, 30 years, affordability naturally sets in. Sure. And I want to tell you with all sincerity that what Nigerians pay as rent today, because an average 3-bedroom flat in Lagos today now, anywhere, is about 2 million, 1.5 million, 2 million. And I'm saying that when you pay 1.5 for 2-bedroom flat for 10 years, that's 15 million. For 20 years, that's 30 million. For 25 years, you know what we are talking about. So Nigerians are already paying what is higher than mortgage. Government is the father of every one of us. Yeah. And in my family today, I have the responsibility of housing them and giving them food to a certain age. So I don't belong to the school of thought that government have no business in housing. Government is the ABC of housing. Because when you look at the value chain, the land in all the states in the federation is the governor of each state that is owning the land in trust for the people. So as long as the government has such power over land and the land administration system of the country, then we can't say we don't need government. We need government. Immediately you leave land, the next in the value chain is title. And they also told us that without title, we are all sitting on dead capital. And as long as we don't work on our title, this nation is not moved anywhere. Because all our assets are dead capital. We have dead capital, we don't have assets. So the title is there, it's within the domain of government. Government is holding the land in trust for the people. The titling system is in their hand. Next to title is horizontal development, the infrastructure provision is government. The primary roads, water projects, lawma, cleaning the streets, these are responsibilities of government, and these are things that constitute. Then the law that will establish mortgage bank and financial institutions, run the capital market, is with government. So you can't say either to give incentive to developers like this government is doing now. They want to develop building materials, manufacturing hubs. It's government. The government will create enabling environment for the private sector to do well in their business. Like we are talking about this housing stock, that without housing stock, we can never have mortgage. And we said the government should not be involved in direct construction. Let them work with, which this government is doing. Let them participate with private sector to develop these houses en masse. We have housing deficit. This deficit is not that 100 million Nigerians are sleeping under the bridges or on streets. No. It's that 80% of this housing deficit, what you call as housing deficit, they were houses that are not standard houses. They are substandard houses. So what we are saying, the low hanging is that instead of focusing on new houses that we are saying building materials is expensive, if we have substandard houses that is already resting on the particular land, we don't need land again for rehabilitating such houses. They have drainage that is blocked. We can quickly fix. They have roads already. We can quickly resurface.
Professor Nubi highlights the critical structural adjustments needed to create a functioning, inclusive housing system for all Nigerians. Up next on the show is a countdown to Africa Housing Awards 2025. We'll review some of the big names to be honored this year. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
We invite you to join us for an exciting celebration of creativity and excellence at the Africa Housing Awards 2025.
This event is more than just a gathering. It's the meeting place for visionaries, leaders, and change makers who are actively shaping the future of housing across our beautiful continent.
On 12th December 2025, the remarkable Fraser Suites, Abuja, Nigeria.
As we honor those who are transforming our cities and leading us towards sustainable living solutions.
Join us as we highlight outstanding achievements in housing, architecture, and community development. By celebrating these remarkable contributions, we are not only recognizing success, but also igniting a movement that promotes progress and unity throughout Africa.
Save the date for the Africa Housing Awards 2025.
Together, let's build a brighter and more sustainable future for everyone.
For more details and updates, be sure to visit. This promises to be an unforgettable evening, filled with inspiration, innovation, and invaluable connections.
Let's make this a night to remember. Powered by Africa Pioneer Advocacy Group, Housing Development Advocacy Network, HDAN.
Every day in Lagos, a new chapter unfolds, a chapter of ambition, innovation, and a city determined to rise. My name is Barakat Odunuga Bakari, the Special Advisor to the Executive Governor of Lagos State on Housing. This December, I invite you to join us as we shape the future of our megacity to chart the path of stronger infrastructure, bold innovation, and affordable housing for every Lagosian. Be a part of the 6th Real Estate Marketplace Conference and Exhibitions 2025. This is where governments, investors, and industry leaders unite to build the future we all imagine. The date is the 16th and 17th of December 2025 at the Eco Hotel and Suites, Victoria Island. Special guest of honor is His Excellency Majid bin Abdullah Al Hogali, Minister of Municipality and Housing, Saudi Arabia, as well as top government officials. Chief host is the Executive Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu. Let's write the future of Lagos together. See you there. La Sfera, Real Estate, real easy.
Welcome back. This is still your Housing Development Morning Show. The excitement is building. The Africa Housing Awards 2025 is just 2 days away, and this year promises to be one of the biggest celebrations of excellence in Africa's housing and construction sector. Let's take a look at some of the distinguished leaders who will be honored this year. A big congratulations to all the honorees and inductees of Africa Housing Awards 2025. Thank you for spending your money with me. As always, I remain your housing diva. This has been the Housing Development Morning Show. Have a productive and inspiring day ahead. Bye for now.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news.
Get credible and authentic housing news at your fingertips by downloading the Housing TV mobile app. You can also join the Africa International Housing Show live from across the globe through the Housing TV mobile app. The mobile app features live streaming and trending housing news. You can locate the AIHS venue via the app, network with AIHS seasoned speakers, and live chat with exhibitors. You can also order house or building materials at AIHS via this app. Download the Housing TV mobile app now from the App Store and Google Play Store. And don't forget to click on the notification button. Available for both iOS and Android users. Housing TV is also on Star Times, channel 149 decoder.
When the city is getting too loud, you need a home